we're ranking all 300 Super Sentai and Power Rangers Mecha Megazords. We don't have time for an intro. We need to rank them all. If you're only interested in stuff from Power Rangers onward, feel free to skip to 4 minutes and 35 seconds of the video. First one's up, we have the Verabloon. This thing is iconic. I'm absolutely going to put this thing in S tier. After this, we have the Veradreen. I like it just about as much as I liked the Verabloon. To be honest, this is what I thought the Verabloon was, so I'm gonna put this in S and move the Verabloon down to A. This is iconic. The Sky Ace was a hard fall off though. I'm gonna have to put that in F. Battle Shark is literally just a container to carry Battle Fever Robo. It was the first of its kind, so I'm gonna put it in C. I don't think I'm gonna be as generous in the future. Battle Fever Robo was really the first to do it, so just out of respect, we're putting this in B. Denji Tiger, I'm gonna have to respectfully put this in F right next to Ace. Whew, it's bad. Denji Fighter, I'm not in love with it. I'm gonna have to put it in D. Jaguar Vulcan. This thing is actually pretty sick because it actually looks like something other than just like a battleship like the rest of them. Because of that, we're putting this thing in B. I like it. The actual Vulcan Robo, on the other hand, going right there in D. All 80s Sentai mech kind of look the same to me. A lot of these 80s Robos are just like shells to carry other in, and that's gonna be a lot more of a novelty in like the future, but like as of right now, they kind of lack personality. This one's not as bad as Jacka's or whatever the hell this one's was. I'll put it in C. I think it's nice. I think it's okay. Goggle Robo actually transforms in a really sick way, and I didn't know that until I watched the first episode of Goggle 5 for the podcast, and I'm gonna have to put it in B. And I know that might be a hot take, but like it transforms in a really cool way where there's a lot of folding and putting things in place, and when you look at this thing, you don't really see how it all comes together until it comes together. Like it hides the toyeticness of it very nicely, not just in the show, but like the toy itself is very nice. Die Jupiter, I believe, putting this one in F. Dino Robo, on the other hand, we're gonna have to put it in D. The Bio Dragon, sick name. Bio Robo is kind of lame. I'm gonna move up these carrier mechs because I don't hate any of them, really. They're all just kind of okay. Ace is pretty bad though. Shuttle Base, they didn't even try with this name. Just go with the rest of them. Change Robo. Where's the dragon, the phoenix, any of the mermaid, other about it? They're just planes and You're going in D. Star Condor. It kind of looks like a jet plane holding a pen. I like it vaguely more than the other carrier mecha. Flash King, I'm not even gonna. This is Titan Boy, and he's kind of cute. I'm gonna put him in B. Great Titan. This is a chunky little guy. I'm gonna put him in B too. All right, so let's try and not get confused here. This is the Turbo Ranger, but it's owned by the Mask Man, but it has a 5 symbol on it, which made me think it was from 5-Man. Just for the confusion alone, I'm putting it in C. It could have been in B. It really could have been. Sentai was really coming into itself here, which is why I'm gonna have to put it in A. I really think Great 5 was a great step in the direction of what Sentai was about to become. Mostly because it's color-coded. What the f is this thing? This is Galaxy Robo. There's something very endearing about him. You kind of just want to tell him that it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna have to put him in B. Machine Buffalo. That ain't a buffalo. Go in F. Live Robo. I think this thing is incredible. This is my favorite 80s Sentai mecha. And to be real with you, I'm gonna have to put it in S. No. I'm putting it in A. It's not an S tier. I said that about Grade 5, but I think it's true with Live Robo. I think he's the real first real Sentai mecha. And Live Boxer is like no different. Like, look at this thing. If he would stop tweaking out, he is so freaking blocky and chunky, and I'm just a big fan, man. I'm putting him in A. This is Turbo Robo. Something about the car feet just gets me, man. I don't like the wheels poking out like that. They're not rollerbladey enough to be rollerblades, you feel me? We're putting you in C. Turbo Rugger. I'm guessing this is supposed to be like a football player type thing, but also a car. It's endearing, man. These little guys, I tell you, I got a little soft spot in my heart for them. This thing is called the Turbo Builder, and I don't understand how it is a mecha in the slightest, but it looks freaking badass. Yeah, you're going in B, man. 5 Robos going in D. Now, Jet Icarus? Ooh, that's a good one. Going in A, baby. Jet Garuda. I don't like that he doesn't have a face. Something about that just don't sit well with me. I do like the way he combines with Jet Icarus. Put in C. Tetra Boy. Probably my favorite of the little guy mechas, I have to say. Put him in A, really. Dai Jujin. This thing is iconic. It's just iconic, man. I love the way it transforms. I love you look at this thing and you know Power Rangers. It's iconic. I have to put it in A. I hate that. The Dragonzord, Dragon Caesar. What's sick about this is that it's really just a kaiju. When you really think about it, It's the first of its kind. It's the only one to really do this, where the Power Rangers throughout the season are fighting against all these monsters and bad guys and all that stuff. And Dragon Caesar comes in and he's like really a monster. He's Godzilla, but he's like a mecha too. He's both a Zord, but a kaiju like a kaiju antagonist for the main Zord to fight against. It plays a dual role in that it's the first evil Ranger Zord, but also like the first, it's like a monster and a Zord at the same time when you think about it, because it has to be this antagonist for the Megazord to fight, but it's also a Zord at the same time. And because of that, I have to put it in S. Oh, I'm sorry. Titanus. I love the Ultra Zord. I think it's one of my favorite ultimate combiners. I love the white gloves. I love having the Dragon Zord draped over your back, kind of like a bear cloak, you know, almost like a hunter that's killed its prey and is now wearing it as like a sign of conquering, you know. And it has these white gloves again and this gold chain that it holds as it rides this fucking steed that it's also been able to tame. I love the Ultra Zord, dude. Am I really gonna put all the Mighty Morphin Zords in S and A though? Yeah. The Thunder Megazord. Y'all are gonna get mad. Y'all are gonna get so mad. In terms of Power Rangers, this being the second ever Zord, it really looks like a true evolution of the Megazord. You have the black arms, pink torso, red main body, yellow and bluer legs. It's a true evolution of the Megazord. Also in the fact that Ryusoulger is underneath that, and all of the other 4 mecha act as armor for Ryusoulger. Like, this is really just Ryusoulger wearing armor. It's not them combined. And then you have the Red Dragon Thunder Zord, which is like, again, an upgrade from the Tyrannosaurus, because now it's doing the job that used to take 5 to do, in that it's a Megazord all on its own. It's a whole humanoid type configuration all on its own, but then you add the other 5 and that just makes it cooler because all of them are armor for it already. Yeah, it's going in S. I'm sorry. The White Tiger Zord. I'm just gonna have to put an A. It's so clean, it's so aesthetically pleasing, and I know everyone's gonna get mad at me about Mighty Morphin. Listen, please. Tor. See, now we can hate on something, okay? Tor is bad, but the problem with this thing is that when you go from Titanus to this, where you just really shove the other Zords in there and then place some things on top of it, it doesn't really combine with anything. It doesn't really carry it even. It just sort of sits there. He's gonna have to go an F. The Shogun Zords are another A. Listen, they're humanoid, but they're also animalistic. They're cool. It's just cool. I love Muteki Shogun. The Falcon Zord. I consider this to be like the first real auxiliary Zord. It's both a gun and its wings, depending on what you have it combined with. It's freaking sweet, man. I gotta put the Falcon Zord in at least B. I used to love the Ninja Megazord as a kid, but I don't know why I just don't love it anymore. I like the Frog. About where it ends, I'll put it in B just cuz, but I don't love it. I'll put him in C. He's okay. The Battleborgs. I feel like they were just an excuse for Gokaiger to have more better choreographed fight scenes, because they kind of realized that they had something really neat with the Shogun Zord, in that the 5 of them could fight on their own like Rangers, but they couldn't move that well. So I feel like that's what the Battleborgs were kind of meant to be. With that in mind, they're more sort of function over form, so I'm gonna have to put them in C. I'm putting them in D, honestly. They just kind of show up in Gokaiger. The Zeo Megazord, I don't know, the helmet thing never really like landed with me, and I also just don't think it's all that pretty to look at. I'm not gonna be generous. I'm putting this thing in D. Hey, I like the shoulder cannons and I like the motorized gimmick. Pyramidas, not as good as Titanus, not as bad as Tor. It's a pyramid. I mean, I can't hate it. Put it in C. The Super Zeo Megazord. This thing is sweet. I love this thing. Everything that was good with the Shogun Zord is good with this, and even then some, because of the way it transforms. I'm not gonna put it in S, but I definitely am gonna put it in A. The Warrior Wheel. I really do enjoy it when Sentai does auto transforming mecha, and the way this thing just sort of pops up. I have one. It just pops up and it's transformed and all by himself. And again, he's a little guy, and we know how I feel about the little guys, man. I don't want to put it in A, but I have to put it in A. I introduce you to Arc the Conqueror. He's neat in concept. I think the whole key gimmick is a little whatever. He's auto transforming too. Kind of looks lame though. I'm gonna have to put him in B. We have the Turbo Megazord. This thing is going in A. I'm not sorry. They're cars, man. They're f***ing cars. When they're not, or the robot, you can play with them like they're Hot Wheels. They just roll on the ground. It's like 6 toys in one, really, because you have the transforming Megazord, and then they're cars. They're just Hot Wheels that on the street. I'm not sorry, it's going in S. So if the Turbozord is 6 toys in one, this is like 8, because each of these transform on their own. They have all the coolness of Muteki Shogun and the Super Zeo Megazords in that they can fight on their own. They're triple transformers. Like they transform from the cars into little dudes and then into the big dude, and then again they're cars. They're all cars. Like, this is absolutely going in S. I'm sorry. Artillatron really is just a fancy parking garage, so he kind of has the same issue as a lot of the other carrier mechas from early like 80s Sentai, but their cars going in a parking garage. Yeah. The Robo Racer is low-key underrated. I really like the way it transforms, but A-cab, you know what I mean? This thing has a cat face and a steering wheel on its crotch. I'm going to put it in S. Astro Mega Ship's another one of my faves, man. This is bad. This is getting really bad. Yeah, I like the fact that the main mecha transforms by itself and doesn't combine with anything. I think that's really unique, and they all live in it. I forgot the name of this thing, and if I'm being honest with you, I think it's kind of lame. I think my hands are tied, and I'm gonna have to put it in C. I don't know how I feel about the Mega Voyager. I think is what it's called. You know what? I have pretty heavy feelings in that I hate when Sentai splits up a windshield. Like, if you're supposed to have me believe that that's where the passenger is sitting in the vehicle piloting it, why would you cut it in half? It just doesn't seem very ergonomic, if I'm being real with you, and for that I'm putting it in D, because I've never been on eBay and found the Red Ranger's mecha completely intact. Every time I've gone on eBay to buy this thing, the Red Ranger Zord, like the astronaut, is like chipped and Hasbro needs to remake that, if anything. Now, Mega Voyager is daddy. Auto transforms, combines with the other Zords, it's going in S. Galaxy Mega. It's only really unique considering the Star Beasts, but that's not really them as mecha. Once they turn into the actual Zords, they kind of lose a lot of their flavor, putting them in C. Go Tauros. Magna Defender grows big, combines with it, put in B. Please, a Centaurus. I really feel like the whole Galaxy Beast, Star Beast gimmick kind of falls apart here. I don't like that they're all trucks, and I know I just said that I like cars, but I don't like that they're all cars because this is an animal Sentai, and I also don't like that the windshield split apart. We're putting this thing in F. Strataforce Megazord. Equally as lame. We're putting this in F. Again, this is an animal Sentai. Why are you giving me vehicles? Don't do that. That's weird. Don't do that. The Zenith Carrier, on the other hand, she can go and see with all the other carriers, being real with you. It's cars, they're rescue machines, we're putting it in A. Another example of a little guy mecha in space helmet, also putting it in A. Super Train, big thing to put little things in, I'm putting it in A. Omega Megazord, fun name, weird mecha, putting it in B. This is a surprising Megazord. At first, I really didn't like it on paper. I thought it was always kind of plain looking, being real with you. But then I got it in my hands and I started playing with it. You could transform this thing one way and then another way, and then you can put all 5 of them into this sort of like spaceship configuration. There's a lot of things you could do with it. Each of these cockpits open. It's a really fun mecha, and I have to put it in A. Shadow Force Megazord. Looks cool, always broken, putting it in C. Now, the Q-Rex was trying to be the Dragon Zord again, but did it do it right? I don't think it's an S. I think it's an A though. Oh, we got the little punchy guy. Would you count this as a little guy mecha? I'm gonna count it as a little guy mecha. I'm gonna put him in B though. I'm not in love with him. Little lame. The Wild Force is such a big line that you can really rank all these by themselves, and I might one day. But let's just go in terms of this combination of Wild Force mecha. The main Megazord itself is really cool. I love the aesthetic of it. It definitely looks wild. It has a big jungle vibe, jungle theming. I'm gonna put it in B. The Kongazord looks juiced, bro. Like, it's got these big pecs, big forearms. If I saw him at the gym, I would not with him. I'm gonna have to put him in A. This thing's sweet. I like the customizability with it, with the horn and the things you can do with the crocodile's mouth and all that. Gao Hunter is, the name alone just sort of sells it, man. I gotta put this thing in A as well. I might just put it in S, really. I'm not gonna say the name of this Megazord. Gao Icarus. I'm not gonna use the Power Rangers name for this. He's okay. Actually, no, what am I saying? He's sweet. He has a lance, a claw, a soccer ball. We're gonna put him in A, and I think we're gonna move Gal Muscle down. Only because Gal Muscle really doesn't have another set of legs, and it really could have benefited from a new set of legs. And so because of that, Gal Muscle, unfortunately is going to go down a peg. Which I think by extension, you're going down a peg. These are not the legs I asked for. You're going in F. There's just no scaling, man. What the f? Boring repaint. Why'd I put the elephant by itself in here? Put you in B, I guess. Gao Kong, our first summer movie exclusive mecha. We could put you in A as well. I like the red in the Kongazord. I don't know why. It looks better this way, I think. Gao Panda. I think this is like a Telebi-kun exclusive. I'll put it in B. The Soul Bird. I think this is our only real example of like a mecha that's also the cockpit. And I kind of like that gimmick. I kind of would like to see them do it again, if I'm being honest. And it is for that reason that we're going to put this thing in A. The Storm Megazord. I like it a ton, but I don't love it. The Thunder Megazord. I've always heard this Megazord is really big amongst like mecha, like Japanese mecha enthusiasts, not just Sentai mecha enthusiasts, but like Japanese mecha people really love the shit out of this thing, and I can't blame them. So I gotta put it in A at least. The Samurai Star Megazord. I think I'm also gonna have to put this thing in A. This is where the fun really begins. Well, let's do a speed round on these. A. This is a pinwheel. A, B. Oh, I like the colors on this thing. B. Pausing on the Thunder round, but it's kind of cool that instead of trying to bullshit incorporate the extra stuff for like the combiner mode into the new mecha that's coming out, just throw it all into its own little thing. It's creative. I like it. This is a Comrag. F. C. This is becoming a lot less amusing. Oh, is it a stamp? Alright, put it in B. Same deal as the Minizord with this, but I think the Minizord did it better, so I'm gonna have to put it in A. The Thundersaurus Megazord. Whew, that's a heavy A, man. I have a lot of nostalgia for this one. I watched a lot of Dino Thunder when I was a 4. So yeah, man, I gotta put it in. I gotta put it in A. Everything that I said about Gao Hunter and the Dragon Zord kind of applies to this thing too. I gotta put it in S. I love this thing. Oh my god. I said earlier that I like putting little stuff into big stuff unless it's in the 80s. The only thing holding this thing back from being an S tier, or even an A tier really, is the fact that we've never had one to scale. For that reason and that reason alone, I'm putting it in B. This thing's neat. I like how it's an excuse to combine all the auxiliary mecha together. I think there's a better example of that coming up. For now, we could put it in B. Ooh, it's an A. A. Gorenger is cool in that they took a lot of the things about the animals and made that a part of the gimmick with the toys, like the elephant trunk and tusks being like a sworded shield, or like a giraffe being a lance, deer's antlers becoming a little claw. It did a lot of cool things like that. Overdrive did the same sort of thing, but what's cooler about the way that they did it is that they each had like a motorized gimmick built inside, being another drill, a saw blade, a punching glove, a pair of scissors. It's just sweet, man. I would put them all in S. Putting electronics in Zords is a slippery slope because eventually they stop working, and that's a problem for people who get into the show later or come into money later in life. This has to be one of the lamest repaints I've ever seen. Oh, and look at that, another repaint. I just said I have a love-hate relationship with putting electronics in mecha, but again, these are cars and also they light up. It's gonna have to go in A. This might be the hottest take of the century or the lamest thing I've ever said. I think this thing is just kind of mid. I'm gonna have to put it in C. This is the Gorenger movie exclusive mech. I don't think this ever showed up in Power Rangers, and I think for good reason. I don't know why I like the Swap Megazord so much. I don't know what it is, and I cannot explain it, but it's gonna have to go in A. Deca Base. It's like if the Brachiosaurus was to scale. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can go right above him. Magi King is fire. I love the Titan Megazord. I love the pointed witch shoes. I love the pointed cap. I love the wings. I love the dragon mode. I love that they all have the Shogun Mecha thing again, where they can all fight on their own. I like that all the weapons combine together. It has a lot going for it, the Titan Megazord. Probably my favorite that we've gone over so far. Lame follow-ups. I like it. I like the chest swapping gimmick. I like that we're gonna count both of these at the same time. I like that instead of a limb swapping gimmick, like a arm leg swapping gimmick, Mystic Force went for like a chest swapping gimmick. I'll put it in B for effort. Cars, man. I really think Animal Sentai have better suits, but Vehicle Sentai have better toys. This is just a better toy in my opinion. There's more playability with it. I gotta put it in A. This is what I was talking about when I briefly mentioned putting auxiliary mecha together. Having all of the auxiliary Zords, all of the auxiliary arms combine into their own mecha like this has to be really one of the coolest things to come out of Gokenger and Operation Overdrive by extension. It's gonna have to go in A, man, because they're also cars, by the way. I don't like this thing. The way it accordions out is kind of neat, so I'll put it in C for flair, but it's not gonna, I don't know if it'll stay up there. I forgot this thing existed. This is one I liked a lot as a kid. Looking at it now, I'm gonna have to put it in just B. Gokaiger, instead of limb swapping, did like an armor sort of thing, but none of it really stuck with me. The bat's kind of neat. I'll put that in B. but none of it was really great, if I'm being real. The wolf's really just a repaint of the 2 legs that were already there, huh? Put it in C, I guess. Giving the evil characters mecha was kind of neat. This thing is incredible. I love the look of this thing. I'm gonna put it in A. The high octane Megazord. I had this as a kid, and there's nothing I want more in life than to get the RPM Zords back in my hands. I promise you, if there are any Zords that I want badly that I don't have in my collection, it's the RPM Zords, because I had all of them, and my aunt sold them at a garage sale for cigarettes, and I want them back. I want the Power Rangers version specifically, because that's the one I had. That's the one I grew up with. I would do anything. I would kill to have this back. With that being said, don't really care for it that much. Still gonna put it in A though. This thing's even lamer if I'm being real. Gonna put it in B. Will this turn it around? Definitely not. It's going in B. Same thing with the Paleo Max, also going in B. This is just a lame ass version of the Warrior Wheel, and I can't explain to you how badly I want all of them again. Might be my favorite Megazord of all time, being real with you. Triple changer, origami aesthetic. The way they transform is literally like folding paper. Like the gimmick of the mecha, the gimmick of the season is drenched not only in the design of it, and not only in like the general sort of like geometric shape of it, but like the way it transforms physically. The way that you turn the bear from an emblem to the bear is literally as if you were to be folding paper. The Dragon Zord folds out like paper. It's literally, it transforms like it's origami. It doesn't just look like origami, but it transforms like origami. Dude, it's a triple changer. It looks sick. Oh man, it's going in A. It's going in S. It's going in S. The only real disappointing thing about Zenkaiger is that it didn't stick with the folding paper aesthetic or gimmick. I like this guy though. I like him in the show. He's in the water tank. I'll put him in B. I just combined all these together. The show completely abandoned the folding paper gimmick in favor of the spinning wheels, the hidden discs, and it honestly suffered for it, dude. And I kind of hate this thing, but I don't hate it. I just kind of hate it. Iki Origami gets a pass though, only because my man Genta owns a sushi restaurant, so of course he'd have the squid neck. Mogyu Dio, it's a Japanese bull pulling a plow. I really kind of wish this thing was just a carrier mech, if I'm being real with you. I don't really like the way it transforms or nothing like that, so I'm gonna have to put it in C. A lot of the time, the summer movie mecha is just like repaints or remolds of previous mecha, but I kind of like what this thing goes for in that it's a roleplay item that becomes a mecha. So it's not like you're buying another Zord, you're buying the roleplay item that is also the mecha. And roleplay items also being mecha is kind of sick. I'll put it in A. It gets a pass on the hidden disc gimmick because of that. This is the definition of a parts former. High-key hate this thing. They could have done so much with this header gimmick and they just absolutely did not. I'm putting them all in D. I might put this one just up a notch because of the pirate thing, but that's about it. You could change the heads of these mecha and turn them into anything you want. You could literally do what Gorenger did with just the head, but instead you just dump a Crayola box all over the Dragon Zord? Nah, man, get out of here. This thing's kind of neat. I know it doesn't have anything to do with the header gimmick. I don't know why it's here if I'm being real. I'll put it in B, really. Datus Hyper. It's a fun gimmick. I understand wanting to tie the arcade game into the show. Sure. See, this is kind of what I wish would happen with all of these headers, is that you'd swap out the head and it would become entirely something different. But again, there's no gimmick here. Imagine if this was like a whip and this was like a gun, or this became like a sword for the arm. Like, they could have done so much with these headers, but they just didn't. I'm gonna give it a C because it kind of gave me what I wanted, but isn't really it. I'll put it in F. This might be a hot take, but I really do not like Gokaiger. It's these big bricks that just sort of clip together, and I understand that they can't really transform because you want the whole opening door aesthetic. I like the aesthetic of it. I kind of wish it was just one pirate ship. Why couldn't it have been one pirate ship? Just like, when I think of pirates, I don't really think of race cars and jets and whatever the f this thing is. Like, put it in A. No, I'm putting it in B. I think it's cool, but it's nothing crazy. This thing, on the other hand, is going in A. C. How do you fly? Yeah. It's my Zenkaiger bias, really, more than anything. This is it with the Vera balloon attached on the back. I could put it in A, just for a jolly old time. It's the mini Zord. Sure. I go back and forth on this thing a lot because, yeah, it's a triple changer. Yeah, Ace is his own thing. I'm putting it above Gokaiger. I think it's better than that, at least. This guy I'm putting in the same spot. Same issues, but also better than Gokaiger. You know, homeboys can ride him. He can absolutely go an A. It's a frog, dude. I like the biting gimmick, but honestly, it's kind of just a washed down version of Baba Ranger. Meh, meh, meh. It's a dinosaur and a spaceship? Yeah, it's gonna have to go an A. Lame, really. I don't love it. Kind of looks worse if I'm being honest. What am I even looking at? It's Homeboy in blue. It's Homeboy with a worse color scheme. No. Tokyo had to grow on me. Don't love it. Kind of lame. Love this thing. It's an A. Meh. Never seen a fire truck train. Never seen the police on a train. This thing's neat because it's a lion and their trains. It's a cool summer movie exclusive, really, if I'm being honest with you. It's just a repaint, right? It's not even that good of a repaint. Oh, look, it's Deno. I can get with the novelty of the Denliner being a Megazord, sure. It's neat. Like I said, it's still pretty neat, sure. I don't know how I could really hate him. Definitely not in love with him either, though. This is sick. This is something I wish I had. I'm gonna put that in A. So Ninja has to be one of the worst seasons in all of Sentai. Same thing with Ninja Steel, to a lesser extent. I love this thing though. Instead of limb swapping, it was chest swapping. The knees are articulated. You could swap the arm out for a chest piece. You could do a lot. The shuriken is the helmet. It has the whole paper hat aesthetic or whatever they had. Man. This feels like a callback to Go Taurus. So I'm gonna put him in the same spot as Go Taurus. I do think it's neat that it's a chair and a chair and a chair. Maybe not that neat though. I don't know what they were doing with this thing. It's kind of ugly. I definitely like it better than Tokyo's gimmick. They're like, you know, little guys. They all transform and sit on the chair. It's cool. I like it. This probably has to be one of the cooler summer movie mechas too, because it's the elephant, but you wouldn't expect it to be the elephant looking at it. So I'm gonna put an A for creativity. This is the Trideron as a Megazord. I'll put it in C. Same sort of thing with the other Reshes where it's just fun. It's not really something cool. Jewel King's grown on me, man. I'm gonna have to put it in C. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's not as offensive as I used to think it was. I like this guy a little bit more, so we're gonna put him in B. I like this guy even more, so we're gonna put him also in B though. Cube Whale is neat. He can go in B. Giraffe is meh, meh, in gold. I like the stick being a part of the mecha now. I like how they did that. I think that's kind of cute. I'll put it in B. It's a creative repaint. I don't know where they came up with the octopus, but good golly Miss Molly, this thing should go in A. It's a platypus? Put it next to the cheetah. Yeah, we can put these guys together, I guess. Actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, I don't like them that much. See, Korea can actually do a really sick repaint if they wanted to. I'm gonna put this above the original if I'm being real with you. I like this guy a lot too. I like the dinosaurs. I don't like the color. This is a different owl. This is creative, turning the whale into a Brachiosaurus. I could definitely get with that. I'll put it in B. They turned the octopus into this thing. I can get with that too. I'll put it in A, really, next to the other one. Kyuranger. I really like the scramble gatai. I like that an arm can become a leg and a leg can become another arm and all that. I really like the Kyuranger mecha. I have all of them. I'm gonna put this thing in A. This is Ryuteo, not Ryuseo. Ryuteo, right? I'm also gonna put it in A because it's the same sort of deal. He's neat, he can go in B. He's also neat, he can go in B. If they made the wings bigger, they could have had this thing clip on the back of the mecha as well as be an arm. And because of the missed potential, I'm gonna put it in D. Oh, Soldier, this thing's all right, I like it. I don't really love this guy either. Talk about a cutie though. B only because I like the dials. The trigger gimmick's lame, but they're also cars, so I'll also put them in B. I hate this thing. Cyclone's cute, I don't love it. Scissors is also cute. Jackpot Striker is kind of a lame repaint if I'm being honest. Never really loved this guy much either. I'll put him in C. The fire truck being a retooling of the crane is really underwhelming. Gully, this thing is Gully. It's a gun and a mecha, love that. Wackadoodle. This is your big final mecha for the Pato Rangers. This is your big season ending mecha. Same thing with this guy, come on. It's cool. I like how snugly he fits in there, so I'm gonna put him a little bit higher than the rest of them. It's like if Kaito was into Splatoon. Ew, double ew. You know what? Gay rights. I'm feeling festive. Fuck this thing. Double fuck this thing. I like the red chrome. I do really like the hammer. I think that was really creative. Is that a is that a dog? Is that supposed to be a dog? Yo, that's a dog. I think I like it a little bit better because it's a car. What is this, music? Get out of here. Chromed out wheels, I like it. I like the Legos, I think they're fun. I can't put a finger on it, but this thing has always looked a little weird looking to me. He's not as bad. Same deal with this guy as well, actually. He's okay. I think it's a really nice repaint, actually. I get how some people can like the egg. I really don't, though. I like everything that's going on with him. I also find this guy endearing as well. An A, because it's really 2 mecha in 1. They didn't have to make Sky Mage. They really didn't. It is a triple changer because of the gems. The only thing holding it back is blue really isn't a part of the main combination. He's just sort of a sword. He feels more like an afterthought, like an accessory. So it's not quite S, but it could have been. This is whatever. This guy is cool. I think he's neat, but I'll put him in C. I love this thing. I don't know what it is. I like the little button that pops up the head. I think that's cute. I'm gonna put him in A as well. This is a big mech. This is a big mech that deserves to be a big mech at the end of the season. I'm also putting A. Zabune has a lot of personality. That alone, I'll put it in B. If it didn't have all that flair to it, I would have put it in D, if I'm being real with you. I think we could put you in C. You can go in B. I like you a little bit more. The way this thing transforms is actually really cute. It's another one I like to fiddle with a lot, so I'll also put it in B. It does not transform as well, but it's a car, so I'm gonna put it in C. Again, not mind-boggling. I'll put it in C. I get what you're going for. You're going for symmetrical docking. That's a really cool concept. Yeah, it's a triple changer. Yeah, it has the Muteki Shogun, multiple characters becoming the mecha type thing. I don't like it. Zenkaiger in every sense of the word is just ugly to me. I think this thing is so ugly. I do like this thing a little bit more, only because it's a mecha and a roleplay weapon, and I like that. How do you f up the Q-Rex meets Dragon Caesar? How do you f that up? This shouldn't be as lame as it is. Like, it's cool, but it's even cooler in the concept I have in my head. Like, why is this so lame to me? Battle Caesar's neat. I actually think he's okay. I'll put this one in C as well. One of the worst mecha in the entire series. I'm not even gonna talk about it. Because it's Donbrothers, I'll put it in D, but only because it's Donbrothers. Don Oni Taijin is one of the greatest mecha to ever come out of history. It is articulated, it is well detailed, everything about it. It's just a nice mecha, it's a pretty looking thing. Everything looks good on its own. I like this mecha a lot. Same thing can really be said about Ryusoulger, or this isn't Ryusoulger, Toradora Gonjin? I'm gonna put it in A because I don't like it as much. It's a roleplay weapon. It's also a mecha. I don't like it as much. I'll put it in B. I'm going to have to put this thing in D, only because I wish we got a Shark Zord for Murasame. Why would you not give the Shark Ranger a Shark Zord? Why, like, I don't know, it just feels cheap and lazy, like an afterthought, like Murasame really was. King Ohger. This may be recency bias, but the little guy's grown on me. I didn't like him that much at first, but now I kind of do. God Kabuto's I guess. I like God Scorpion a lot. I like that it's like a knuckle, like a big knuckle for King Ohger. I'm gonna put that in A, actually. I'm gonna put it above King Ohger himself. The Grasshopper is I as well. It's a neat repaint. This thing is very cool. I like it a lot. I'm gonna put him in B. One of the sickest fight scenes out of King Ohger came up from this guy. I'm gonna put him in A. The thing from Akiba Ranger, he can go in C. If you're this far into the video, I like to think that means you're enjoying yourself. So I encourage you to double check and see if you're subscribed. I make content like this all the time about Power Rangers, Super Sentai, and Kamen Rider. And I really think that if you're enjoying this video, you'd enjoy my other videos. Anyways, why did I change my shirt? Why am I wearing a hat now? What happened? A number of things happened, actually. Basically, since recording this video, there were a number of toys that were released for King Ohger that were not out before, that we did not know were coming, and so I figured we might as well add them to the list. Also, there were a number of things I realized I missed, surprisingly, and I figured we could double back and get to those. And since we're gonna be here for a minute, I also figured I'll add in some things that I didn't think I was going to add in, but am now figuring we might as well since we're here. So let's go for it. I busted out channel favorite MS Paint. This is because Tiermaker only allows you to have up to 300 images, and we've well surpassed that at this point. Before we begin, I want to address some changes I've made. I moved up the Shinkenger auxiliary mecha, mostly because I kind of realized I was a bit harsh on them. They kind of have the same thing going on as Overdrive and Gokenger, where you can do stuff with the auxiliary mecha, that you can make the bird or the cannon if you add an Iki origami, so I think they deserve to be in at least B. C. Also moved up the Bull Rider Megazord above B and into A, mostly because I think it's a lot more than just a remake of Gotoros. Now in this context, the shuriken isn't a paper hat, it's like a cowboy hat, and you know, it's actually like a legit bull rider, and it fits in nicely with like gimmick that Ninja sort of had of having the humanoid mecha, so I feel like it made sense to bump them up a peg. And then the last one I bumped up was the Q-Rex Dragon Caesar combo. To be honest, I still think I'm being a little harsh on it. It definitely doesn't deserve to be an F. I think I was just a little too heated about Zenkaiger, and so unfortunately this thing had to catch a stray because of it. God Tarantula wasn't even on our radar when I first filmed, and to be honest, I proudly, indubitably believe that this thing belongs in S. I think this thing is fire. It could very easily be recency bias, but I think this is a really cool mecha. After this, we have God Cicada. Actually, maybe technically should have been in the initial rundown because we did know about it. I'm going to put this thing proudly in A. I'm gonna put God Centipede into S tier. I think this is a really cool mecha. I really like the chainsaw gimmick. I think it's really creative. I think it looks really cool. Probably recency bias, but who cares? Now we are officially on to ones that I missed. Serpentera. After how long I went on about the Dragonzord and how cool it was as like a mecha slash antagonist for the Rangers, I'm surprised I missed Serpentera. And to be honest with you, I'm going to put it in A. And the only reason it is not in S tier is because it does not transform and it does not combine with anything. I don't know how I remembered every single hurricane ball, but I forgot the mammoth. I really like how this thing incorporates the ball using the trunk as a ramp. I generally tend to like carrier mecha, so I'm going to put this thing into A. Next up, we have the exclusive mecha from the Gorenger summer movie. To be honest with you, I think it's just as good as Engino, but with a black and gold color scheme, which kind of doesn't ever miss really when it comes to Sentai. So I'm gonna put this thing in S. If Engino is an A tier, this thing has to be an S tier because the colors are better. Next up, we have the Lantern Zord. I like how you can limb swap with it. I like how it incorporates the hidden discs. I think it makes a lot of sense with the theme. I think it is perfect for Gensa to have on his little cart. I think that is very aesthetically pleasing. I'm actually thinking I'm gonna put this thing in A as well. I actually dig this thing a lot now that I'm thinking about it. We now have the Kyuranger summer movie exclusive, Cerberus. This thing is just a worse version of Shishi Voyager. Put it in D tier. At one point in Zenkaiger, Stay Caesar summons a black and gold Zenkaiger. The black and gold repaint typically would fix it, but I think Zenkaiger is so ugly that it can't be saved. This is where we get into the territory of mecha that I didn't know if I should include. Murasame from the future. Technically, it is a different mecha from the original Murasame because there is a minor gold accent on the chest piece, technically. Another good example of a technicality is fake Gokaiger. This is just Gokaiger with a cape and a pirate hook. I didn't know whether or not to include it, but I figure if I'm gonna say I'm gonna do all of them, I'm going to do all of them. And I'm gonna say if I'm gonna put Gokaiger in B, if you're gonna give it a pirate hook and a cape, that deserves to move it up at least an inch, right? I think I could proudly put this in A tier. In a crossover movie, Go-Buster O receives rocket and drill limbs from Kamen Rider Fourze, and I don't know whether or not to count this again because technically these things are not mecha, but I feel like if we're gonna count Gokaiger with a cape, this is more than different enough to be counted on its own. I think it's a fun little thing they did here. I'm not mad at it. I also didn't know whether or not I should include the Lights of Orion because technically they're just a chess piece, but again, we're in this weird gray area right now, so we're just gonna go for it. And in terms of the Lost Galaxy Rangers getting it, I'm going to put this in C. I think it's a neat concept, but I don't think it's anything to be like wowed over. But, and again, this is weird because I don't know whether to count this twice. Technically, the Omega Megazord is a different Megazord with the Lights of Orion, so I'm going to put it with B because it's a cool crossover idea in the Versus movie. But at the same time, is this a new Megazord or a combination? Because it's just new pieces like the cape and eye patch in my mind, right? We're in a really weird gray territory, so I figured it was safer to include both than not. Next up, we have the Life Force Megazord. I wasn't going to include this because of the picture count, but it did show up in the show, and so that makes it way more of an official Megazord than something like, I don't know, the Holiday LuPat exclusives. And it's just a black and gold repaint of the Max Solar Zord and the Lightspeed Megazord. So I'm gonna put this in S. And I'm also now realizing that there are a ton of black and gold repaints that are not going to be included in this video. And for the sake of brevity, just assume that if there is a black and gold repaint of something like the original Megazord or any number of other black and gold repaints, assume it would be in the tier above where the original Megazord was placed. I think that's a generally good rule of thumb. There's just too many to count, and it's not worth re-going over so many things. So those were things that I knew about but didn't want to include. Here's more things I forgot about or didn't even think about until literally 5 seconds before I recorded this video. Basically, in terms of research for this video, I just went straight down the Super Sentai Wikipedia page for all of the Zords. And I thought that'd be it, because in America, we just grab everything from Super Sentai. There'd be no reason to even check the Power Rangers Wikipedia. But then I remembered Silver Titanus. And then I remembered that there are several Bandai America exclusive Megazords that I originally almost completely forgot about. 21 to be exact. Silver Titanus I like significantly less than the original Titanus, and so I'm going to put it in D. I don't think it deserves the name Titanus, and I'm honestly happy it didn't show up in the show. Skipping a few years, which makes me think I missed stuff, we have this interesting Megazord from Jungle Fury where they took the auxiliary mecha, being the bat, elephant, and shark, and turned them into their own Megazord, but they're not the same molds and they're not the same toys, and they added in this puma and I think a snow leopard or something. I don't know what these are. A hyena. I'm gonna put it in B for creativity and just sort of leave it at that. So a good number of the beast batteries that don't have Zords or mecha attached to them in Kyuranger got toy exclusive Zords in the toy line in Dino Charge, and I think that is so sweet. We're gonna start off with, I think this is a Alamara. I never know how to pronounce the name of this dinosaur, but just because they did that, I'm gonna have to put it in A. It's something that they just didn't have to do, but they did it anyways, and it is honestly a really good reason to want to pick up the American exclusive mecha, because now you can pick up the additional Juden Ryu that were not in the Japanese toys, and so I think that's kind of neat. I think that's a really cool thing that Bandai America did. So some other ones they did were this crocodile thing, Overapu, which I think is the farting one, this turtle, and I think that's it. So this is actually really cool. Now, the reason why I'm not so confident in knowing if I got all of them in this one shot is because they recolored damn near every single Dino Charge toy, and we have to include it. So we have the green Dino Charge Zord, and I'm going to just put it in the same spot that I put the other one. We have a red version of Terra Gordon, which I honestly think is a worse repaint, so I'm going to put it in D. We have a repaint of the Ankylosaurus, which again is a worse repaint, so I'm actually going to put it in F. The crocodile also received a worse repaint. Again, it's cool that they did it, but it's a worse repaint, so I'm just gonna put it in F. If you're gonna repaint the thing, make it cool. This isn't for me, but I can see how this has value. There is a purple version of the Pachycephalosaurus Zord, and that I believe is a reference to the Dino Thunder Zord, and so I'm gonna put it in B. They did a repaint of the Alomara Karis, and honestly it looks damn near the same. It's just a darker shade of blue. I'm gonna also put this in F. They did a green repaint of the Parasaur. I'm gonna put that in B as well. They did a red repaint of the Raptor. I'm going to put it in F. Do all of those repaints necessarily deserve to be an F? Maybe not, but to be honest with you, they pissed me off, so I really don't care at this point. There was too many. I'm also now realizing that I forgot something, and that is the green Aberreno. And I'm not gonna lie, this thing is actually sick as so I'm gonna put it in S tier. See, and I'm gonna cover it with my camera. In Megaforce, Bandai America did a similar thing, and they actually added in additional Zords for the Ranger teams that didn't get coverage in Gokaiger. I think this was actually the same toy as the regular Ninja Mini Zord thing, but they added in the Mega Winger elements to it, so I'm gonna count it as its own thing just for creativity. I'm going to put this thing in A. It's a Zeo race car. I don't remember there being a race car in Zeo. Actually, I could just double check. Yeah, there wasn't. I'm gonna put it in B because yeah, it's creative, but I feel like they could have done something a little more creative with it. They also added in Zords and Ninja Steel, being an ape, a Stegosaurus, and a saber-toothed tiger that don't combine with anything, don't fit in thematically, and don't even aesthetically look like the Ninja Steel Zords, but they call them Zords. I kind of hate them. I literally had to extend the F tier just to include them. Rumble Tusk Megazord, which honestly just felt like Bandai America was trying to just get as much money as possible before abandoning the brand. It feels greedy, it feels weird. Technically, I shouldn't even be including this because we have, what do you call it, the Elephant Zord over here, but they repainted the entire Ninja Steel Megazord, so that technically makes it its own thing. And it just feels greedy and corporate and lame, so I'm gonna put it in F. Granted, I don't know how I can possibly say corporate with a straight face when all of these are meant to be sold to children, but it feels extra greedy because the only reason they did it was so that they could charge more for it. That's the only reason they did that. They could have absolutely packaged the Mammoth on its own. And same thing with the UFO Zord. It's lame. So with that, I think that's all of them. That wasn't all of them. I missed the Jungle Fury Rhino Zord. Don't ask me how the f that slipped over my head twice, but sure. On top of being forgettable, this thing comes off more European than it does Chinese, which I feel like doesn't fit in with the whole aesthetic of Jungle Fury. There's the Claw Cannon Zord, which is in B, and in Samurai they added a Scorpion Zord for Decker, which I actually think is a really interesting concept that I would have liked to see more fleshed out in the show. That's gonna be our last S tier. I hope this is all of them. Did you know they made a Red Ninjor in Ninja Storm? Did you also know it was in C tier? Y'all ever hear the Micro Torque Megazord? Thing is overrated. They did this twice. I guess it can go in B again. There's this thing, which is also in B. What do you guys know about the X-Ray Rescue Megazord? I think it's a solid C tier IMO. There's also a Blue Gao Hunter, which will actually be our final S. C, D, A, S. I'm gonna give you a nice close final sort of look at the list. Feel free to pause, feel free to look, but I believe this is everything. This is everything. All of it should be here. Keyword is should. I feel so unconfident. I don't think you guys understand that I feel so unconfident about this being all of them. Let me know if I missed any. I'll pin a comment of anything I missed. And if you enjoy me making tier list videos about Power Rangers, I recommend you watch this one I made about every single Power Rangers series. At the time, I don't think Dino Fury was out, and obviously it doesn't include Cosmic Fury. But that one is one that you can go watch, or you can just do whatever you want with the rest of your day. Bye.